I saw this video and I want you guys to watch this video, especially Black Americans, because honestly, a lot has not just been happening recently, not even the obsession with Black Americans and so on and so forth. But I want you guys to listen to what this white man said. And you guys know that every single time I get a video coming from these white folks that can literally open up, tell you the truth, exactly how the word is, I just can't wait but just tell you guys exactly how it's supposed to be. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. And I'll say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, and sharing. And you guys, just let me know your honest opinion. Watch this video from beginning to the end, and I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go there, guys.
But what I'm learning is the American dream is not reality for everyone, except for the privileged few. The truth is, this American dream mindset is based on white supremacy. And if you think white supremacy is just hatred for people of color, it is so much more than that. David Gilborn, he addresses the idea of whiteness. Whiteness is a racial discourse, whereas white people are a socially constructed identity. White people don't necessarily reinforce whiteness any more than heterosexual people reinforce or are homophobic. I'm betting most white people, haven't educated themselves on this idea of whiteness. We can't see the problem of white supremacy because we've lived free from it our whole life. White supremacy is our privilege. It's who we are. To call it out is to call out our very being. It's no wonder that white people get defensive. I'm continually amazed at some of the comments I get from white people about my thoughts on white supremacy. They act like it doesn't exist. I said in a recent post, if you only hang out with white people, then you're racist. Instead of maybe looking at their own lives to question if maybe it's true, they get defensive and argue semantics. That is white supremacy. Read a book. They've clearly not educated themselves by walking in another person's shoes. This is white supremacy. Figure things out on your own. Go make money. Anybody can do it. Hide, bury, ignore your emotions. This is white supremacy because this is an individualistic mindset. The opposite of that is owning the pain that you have inflicted on others and doing something about it. Maybe the biggest problem in this for white people is that they're too afraid to admit their own role in racism because they don't want to get uncomfortable. It seems that what most of us oblivious whites get wrong is that regardless of guilt or fault, we need to admit we're uneducated on this topic. One of the reasons why some won't is because we're afraid to get uncomfortable. And even when I don't think I've done anything wrong, someone else's perspective is no less true. And to wholeheartedly care for that person requires setting aside my own shit and understanding life from their point of view. And what actual steps do we need to take as white people? In what ways do we need to get uncomfortable? We can't possibly understand what it's like to be targeted by racism. As a white person, how do I even put myself in the shoes of people of color? My privilege is attached to my skin. I can't separate from it. I mean, can we ever truly comprehend the lived experience of being abused by systemic injustices? Maybe this is where we failed people of color. We can't relate, so we buy into the bullshit we've been told our whole lives, like everybody has an equal shot. Just work hard. If you fuck up, then that's your own fault. I mean, we say things like this instead of looking at the serious offenses being committed every day right in front of us. Getting uncomfortable means facing the truth of this oppression, sitting down with a person of color, listening to their story, putting yourself in a setting to feel the actual weight of this atrocity, feeling it in the pit of your stomach like you just lost your whole world. It takes a whole lot of security, humility to own your shit, to apologize. And if you can't do that, well then you will perpetuate harm. And that's what white people have done to people of color. As a white person, it's one thing to talk about ending racism. It's another thing to take actual steps towards that end. I'm finding a lot of support and encouragement to keep using my voice in this fight. And at the same time, who am I to speak to this problem? I have white friends. I'm just another white dude with my own contributions to racism. So I figure let's just get into it. What's the difference between talking about it and taking action? In my last post, I captioned it, "Ignorant White People." It seems that what most of us oblivious whites get wrong is that regardless of guilt or fault, we need to admit we're uneducated on this topic. Just admit it already. If you're a white person who gets defensive, stop. History has shown us we're all guilty. I'm trying to own that and educate myself. And if you are too, start with Ibram X. Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. I also said one of the reasons why some can't or won't take that first step is because we're afraid to get uncomfortable. It requires a hell of a lot of humility to admit you're wrong. And that's something that's just lacking across the board in our society. One of the hardest lessons I've had to learn in my life, I'm still learning, is that even when I don't think I've done anything wrong, someone else's perspective is no less true. And to wholeheartedly care for that person requires setting aside my own shit and understanding life from their point of view. So stop deflecting, excusing yourself or whatever, and get uncomfortable. Join this conversation without getting defensive. Start these discussions in your own circles. So that's a beginning, but then what actual steps do we need to take as white people? In what ways do we need to get uncomfortable? Well, this is where shit starts to get uncomfortable. Realizing the specific action to take is a challenging thing to do because we can't possibly understand what it's like to be targeted by racism. As a white person, how do I even put myself in the shoes of people of color? My privilege is attached to my skin. I can't separate from it. I mean, can we ever truly comprehend the lived experience of being abused by systemic injustices? If a friend loses a loved one and you've never experienced that pain before, you wouldn't say to them, "Oh, I know how you feel," because you don't. And if you just rambled on and on about how life goes on, you'd only make it worse. We can't know how people of color feel, so shut up and quit pretending like you do. Maybe this is where we failed people of color. We can't relate, so we buy into the bullshit we've been told our whole lives, like everybody has an equal shot. Just work hard. If you fuck up, then that's your own fault. I mean, we say things like this instead of looking at the serious offenses being committed every day right in front of us. Innocent people being murdered for the color of their skin. Concentrated areas of poverty void of grocery stores because white people won't make money if they build one there. discrimination against people of color and getting a good education and a decent job, and on and on. Getting uncomfortable means facing the truth of this oppression, sitting down with a person of color, listening to their story, putting yourself in a setting to feel the actual weight of this atrocity, feeling it in the pit of your stomach like you just lost your whole world. When we feel that, maybe we can start to make a change. I don't see too many white people doing that work, though. I'm going to be honest, I've only scratched the surface of taking these steps myself. I need my friends to keep calling me out. I have a lot more to do. We all do. And this is my journey as a human being, to be committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's why I'm a social worker. I was instructing a student in a student driver car, and she was afraid to turn left at a yellow light, and the person behind us just lays on their horn for like 15 seconds and then speeds past us. And at first I thought, people are awful. But then a little while later, I was feeling that was a bit harsh, and I realized that instead it's that people are impatient. I learned growing up in the church that people are inherently bad, but people aren't bad. I hate when we just assume that others are bad. And Christians are the worst at this. They've been taught that all people are inherently bad, that without Jesus, we're doomed to hell for nothing, just for being born. But this is ignorant for at least two reasons. I mean, first, people can't be inherently bad because behavior is learned. Culture creates behavior. You think the way your family thinks. People in the West talk differently than people in the East. The norms for one group of people are different than another. So if someone is bad, it could be that it was learned, which is complex, I know, but this is TikTok, not a TED Talk. And second, behavior is based on our survival instincts as mammals. If you have to choose between starving and stealing, you will steal. That's not sinful, that's survival. It's disgusting that the church taught me to think that people are deserving of hell. I was so judgmental growing up of both other people and myself. And I've spent years trying to unlearn that. So church, stop assuming people are awful. And please stop using the Bible to spiritualize it, because you're taking that shit way out of context and pretending to be more worthy than someone whose only sin is that they're different than you, which is actually just white supremacy. You can see my other video for more on that. Let's stop believing that people are bad and instead see the good. Acknowledge the hurt and recognize the broken system. And don't freaking honk at student drivers. So, I posted about white supremacy and I was shocked by how many people validated my thoughts, so thanks for all the comments. But there were two people who commented white male and oh geez. And, you could probably guess what race they are, white. But white people aren't the problem. White supremacy is the problem. I've been learning this more lately. I read a peer-reviewed article from 2005 by a guy named David Gilborn, where he addresses the idea of whiteness. He says that whiteness is a racial discourse, whereas white people are a socially constructed identity. based on skin color. He goes on, I mean, there's so much good stuff. I can send you the article if you want, just message me. But he goes on to talk about how white people don't necessarily reinforce whiteness any more than heterosexual people are homophobic. I mean, even though most probably are. But here's the thing, like, I'm betting most people, white people, haven't educated themselves on this idea of whiteness as a racial discourse. So they speak out of ignorance. We speak out of ignorance. But it's even more than that. People of color don't call out white people for speaking out about white supremacy. In fact, most that I've encountered encourage it. White people call out white people for speaking out against white supremacy. Why? It's simple, really. We can't see the problem of white supremacy because we've lived free from it our whole life. White supremacy is our privilege. It's who we are. To call it out is to call out our very being. We haven't had to walk around in fear of getting mauled by police for nothing. We can go for a walk in the park at night wearing whatever we want without being accused of carrying a gun, even though probably are. We don't have people cursing us out for the color of our skin. When it comes to white supremacy, it's no wonder white people get defensive. And it's no wonder people of color don't get defensive. In fact, this only validates the existence of white supremacy. So thanks for your comments.
Anyways, welcome back, guys. And you guys have seen all of that video. And let's just be honest with every single thing that this man actually said. The truth is that the American dream is not for anyone, for everyone. It's for few people. It's for people that think that they have privilege, and of which, with the way things are going as at this point, I don't even think the dream is even valid for even them themselves. I think the only people that is literally enjoying these dreams are the ones in the White House. That was why when I saw this video, I was like, I need to bring it out here for educational purpose. Because I love it when some of these white men, that their head is correct, people that knows what education is all about, says things exactly how it is. And because the dream is not for everybody, that is why we are at this stage where we are. America has gone too far for what the masses are suffering right now. And when I mean America, especially Black Americans, especially the people that built this nation in sweats, in truths, in slavery, in segregation, in Jim Crow, name it, a lot of things. So if there is any single community that literally needs to have that American dream, it should be Black Americans. But as it stands now, a lot of things have gone sour to the point that even the least average America cannot afford what they can really afford before. And you want to tell me that the dreams are still alive? AI's ChatGPT has literally been able to also say it pop and plain that right now the regime that every single America is enjoying is just the orange man. They no longer enjoy anything. They no longer see the vibes. In fact, a lot of people are now fleeing away from America that is supposed to be where people should be running to. I keep saying this in my videos, right? Growing up, when we hear of America or we have our uncles and aunties that travel abroad and specifically America, it looked like we are in the top world. I can tell you for a whole fact that some of us grew up not even knowing or not even hearing the names of some of these countries like UK, Canada, Australia. What was ringing, what was reigning during my childhood was America. Is either you have your auntie here and they will tell you where is she, she's in America, or you have this person here that just leave the neighborhood, where did the person relocate to? America. But now that same white sweet name that we've been hearing, that same glorious name has literally been killed by just a particular set of race, because they have literally seen that nothing good can actually come to the black folks. Now, you want to tell me that the American dream is real? The American dream is still alive? The American dream is still burning? Anyways, that is why I brought out this topic for you guys so that we can both talk about it by ourselves, right? Just let me know what you think in the comment section too, because I want to hear your own opinion. Credits belong to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys, I love you guys.